Indirect technical talks are underway in Doha, with Qatar and Pakistan serving as mediators. Let's switch now to Washington, D.C., where we are joined by Jason H. Campbell, who's Senior Fellow at the Middle East Institute. Thank you for joining us, sir, here on Asia One. Well, you've said Trump is stuck between the two bad options, a drone out of war or a deal that looks worse than the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Which way is the White House actually leaning right now?
Well, right now it appears that they're leaning toward the latter, which is the deal, but they're also trying to, if not get to points that are more aligned with the language of the JCPOA, at least as it pertains to Iran's nuclear program, they're trying to find ways to sell it to the U.S. constituency here in a way that, again, doesn't appear to be worse off than the terms of the JCPOA, which President Trump and even candidate Trump was very critical of now for over a decade.
And look, with the U.S. shifting from airstrikes to naval pressure in the Strait of Hormuz, how much longer can this test of wills at sea continue before someone escalates?
Yeah, I think right now, I mean, the U.S. naval presence, I think, can sustain for a while. I think right now we've seen the naval blockade be reduced, if not halted, as these talks are starting to make progress and perhaps will continue to, but could be brought back on if there was some break in the talks. In terms of the airstrikes and going back to a more of a widespread conflict that we saw early on in the days of this war, I don't see that happening in the near term. I think neither side right now wants to go back to that level of hostilities. I think right now they're using some of these attacks as a type of coercive diplomacy to establish their respective positions and to gain a bit of leverage at the negotiating table.
Well, Mr. Campbell, you also have noted that Iran has shown a strong ability to absorb pain. Does that mean that U.S. pressure tactics are already failing to move to Iran?
I think the rhetorical pressure that President has tried to exert on Iran is increasingly falling on deaf ears. We heard just a few days ago, President Trump once again threatened to destroy the Iranian civilization if their negotiators don't start abiding by some of America's key points. And I think right now that might be more for public consumption here in the United States than it is for Iran's leadership, because at this point, I don't think they are at a strategic level very much moved by these rhetorical threats, nor I think are they going to make major concessions based on some of these more limited strikes that the administration has partaken in either.
All right, and here's the last thing from me. I want to ask you: if the Strait stays effectively contested, how fast do you think the economic shockwaves spread beyond the region?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a great deal of uncertainty pertaining to the Strait of Hormuz for the foreseeable future. Even the talks now, this memorandum of understanding between Washington and Tehran is, simply a shorter-term band-aid that even now has yet to completely reopen the strait, based on similar terms to where it was prior to the war. And I think going forward, Iran is going to continue to use this as leverage, should it feel that its broader interests are not being well appreciated by, if not not just the U.S. but the region and the world writ large. So I think there's going to be a great deal of uncertainty. I think we might be able to find some, again, short and medium term accommodations going forward is the hope. But I think this is going to be a key point of strategic tension for the foreseeable future.
All right, thank you, Mr. Campbell, for joining us here on Asia One, and thanks for the insights.